What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a sort of discussion video about the year 2022 and gaming. And as the title probably says to some effect, 2022 is going to be just kind of a weird year for video games. The first quarter, if you will, has been absolutely packed with releases that have, so far, been pretty great. Elden Ring, of course, being the most prominent one, and then other titles such as Ghostwire Tokyo, or my two personal favorites from the beginning of this year, which is Expeditions Rome and Weird West. But ultimately, the first quarter here was really packed so full of games because of delays caused by a global pandemic, and now, largely speaking, over the next few months, we're going to see the opposite side of the fallout from those events, and that is a kind of barren landscape of releases. There are quite a few games that are supposed to release in 2022 that simply don't have a release date yet, but to kind of put it in perspective a little bit, in the first quarter of the year so far, there were probably 5 or 6 game releases that I was really looking forward to, whereas in the next 6 months or so, there's really only 2. At least that have actual release dates. And even if you include the stuff that doesn't have a release date, that number really only goes up by a couple, which again just makes 2022 a very odd year where the beginning of it saw just tons of releases, and now we're going to go into a stretch where there's really not going to be much of anything as far as big releases goes. Not to say that there aren't any, but definitely not nearly as many as would be normal. Now, broadly speaking, I don't think this will really affect anyone because at the end of the day, gaming is very much so a luxury. And let's be honest, if this is our biggest complaint is that there's not enough video games releasing, you're doing just fine in life. Now, personally, I plan on spending the next few months going over a ton of older titles because there are ultimately more games on this earth than I will ever be able to play, so naturally it's a great time to go back and play older titles while we wait for the continuation of new releases. And as it stands, I've got a list of about 10 or so games that I plan on reviewing during this time, as well as a few projects I've kind of been putting off simply for a time that I just had more time to work on them, as playing and reviewing games for a living is a rather time-consuming endeavor. But as with most of my discussion videos, I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet. But by all means, down below, I would love to hear about any game releases left for the year that you are particularly looking forward to, or if there's any games you plan on jumping into, again, in this rather slow period for game releases. So, all of that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how you feel about, again, just this weird year for video games down below. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, but regardless of any of that, truly, thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.